Warning, this video contains spoilers, so if you haven't read any of the books yet, please click away right now. It's for your own good. It's for the immersive experience, man. Like, please. Hey guys, it's Jasper here. Today I'm trying out something new, something I've never really done before for content, yeah. That is talking about stuff while having speed paints playing in the background. But Jazz, you straight up said that you're gonna focus on one fandom at a time. You stated that you're gonna focus on the How to Train Your Dragon fandom. Boys and girls, I changed my mind. From the moment I opened the first book, I already knew how much I would love this series. I just couldn't stop myself from making a video about it. And I'm not a book reading type of person. Like, I rarely read books, so this is something. This is really something. So yeah, in this video, you'll be listening to me talking about the first book, which is the Dragonet Prophecy. Yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Also, just for your information, I've only read the first book, so pretty much everything I say is all like based on my interpretation, and it has nothing to do with whatever is canon, you know? This is all opinion based. Oh, and don't give me spoilers in the comments, like, please. Alright, so here we go. Now, I don't even know where to start, actually. I guess we could start with why I immediately fell in love with the series. Now, in order to understand why, we gotta turn to the past, you know. We gotta turn back time to the good old days. Not when my mom is saying. No, not that. So yeah, in the very, very, very early days, when I was structuring the plot and setting for Cretaceous Endlings, my original series, yeah, I believe some of you guys have seen it. The first idea that came to mind was a pack of somewhat anthropomorphized raptors. You see, what I mean by somewhat anthropomorphized is that they can grab stuff like cavemen, they can use tools, they can talk, they can build homes, and most absurdly, I know this is very absurd thing I came up with. It's just for the funsies, you know. They got their own lavatory. I don't know, it's weird. But they do not stand upright like a human. They are still physically raptors. The idea sounded appealing to me, but like, I figured that it simply wouldn't work out in the media, so I had to scrap it. But then, I discovered Wings of Fire. And boy, let me tell you, I was genuinely impressed that someone actually made an idea that is similar to mine and worked it out. The dragons can use tools and armaments, like spears, armor, and scrolls. They can make portraits, like Queen Scarlet's. And they can build palaces. They have a human-like personality. They're not just animals or monsters. Despite all that, they're still physically a dragon. So yeah, that's something about the series that I'm pretty much really into, actually. Yeah. I've got plenty to say about some of the characters too. I'm gonna start with Glory. She's the character that surprises me the most out of the others. You see, before I read the book, when someone says Wings of Fire, the first thing that came into my mind was Glory. I don't know why. It's probably because I see her a lot when I look up the series, or when a conversation about it flares up, you know. It's like she's an icon to the series. So I assumed that she was more of a metaphorically loud and ambitious character like Tsunami or Clay, for example. But to my surprise, she had more of a personality that wouldn't make a fuss about pretty much anything, really. Like she would yawn at the sight of a fountain of blood bursting out of a decapitated head. At least that's how I saw her in chapter 1. As I read the rest of the chapters, my perception of Glory slowly but surely began to change though. Then there's Sunny, the off-looking Sandwing Dragonet. I strictly, I'm gonna say it again, strictly held my attention to her throughout chapter 1. When I saw that she didn't have black eyes like other Sandwings did, I was like, okay, I gotta note that down. I gotta really note that down. I can already feel the plot thickening all the way from here. All the way from chapter 1 in the first book, bro. So yeah, I held the intention throughout chapter 1, but then I lost it. I completely lost it. I don't think not completely, but like I still have that attention, but like it's not as powerful as the attention I had in chapter 1. So yeah, anyway. And then there's Kestrel. Now this character, I feel really really bad for her because after how do wait, hold on. Let me just organize my thoughts for a moment. Okay. So especially after she was murdered in the epilogue, I felt really bad for her. She lost her twin dragonets. She killed one and abandoned the other. She must have been still healing from that tragic day, while she had to take care of the Dragonets of Destiny, the DoD gang, yeah. Which explains why she was very short-tempered towards them, yeah. Then she reunited with her lost daughter, only to get murdered at the end. So that's why at the end I was like, oh my god. Like, oh my god, after all that, and she just dies like that? Like, I would have been more satisfied if Kestrel lived to learn that Clay wasn't a naturally born fighter, if you know what I mean. And, I don't know, would go easier on him the next time they met, or something? Yeah, in my sunshine and rainbow dreams, that is. But oh well, it's for the plot, so it's for good, you know. It's for the it's for good. So I'm coping. You know, one of my favorite parts from this book would be when Clay floated through the what's it called? The Glowworm Caves, yeah. While he was trying to help his friends escape. Just painting my senses of being in that scenario really left me in awe. Like, seriously. Because a cave full of twinkling glowworms is certainly not something we would see very often. Especially with our global sustainability problems, yeah. So meaning to say, they wouldn't last long. You know, this part of the story also can teach us something about life. Clay swam through a claustrophobic river, with barely any space to even extend his wings just by a tiny bit. The water was icy cold. He wasn't able to catch a breath because the top of the cave met the river's surface. And to top it all, he swam through total darkness. He didn't know what was in front of him, or behind him, or in any other direction, really. He basically lost a fraction of his senses. Despite that, he kept pushing until he finally saw the light. A cave full of glowworms, twinkling like the stars. So the moral is, when times get difficult, you gotta look for the light, regardless of how long it takes for you to get there. I know it's a very cliche saying, but bear with me. It's true. If Clay gave up, he wouldn't be able to turn back or surface for air. He would drown. He'll never get to see the world beyond the darkness of his prison. He'll never get to see his friends he grew up with. He'll never get to see Tsunami, Starflight, Sunny, and Glory ever again. Ever. Forever. And ever. So if you give up, you'll never get to see the light. Ever. You know, I feel kind of stupid that it took a painfully long time for me to discover that Wings of Fire is actually a thing. I have to say, I never really knew how much I've been missing out. I enjoyed every page I read. But the part where Clay made music with the wires on the stone pillars is hands down, without a doubt, my most memorable moment when reading the book. It conveys this wholesome feeling, you know, like especially when the prisoners started to sing along. But I don't think wholesome is enough to describe the way I felt when I read this part. I think it's an understatement, really. You see, it's like I don't really know how to put this. It's like it's like the feeling you'll get when I tell you guys right now that on one Christmas morning in World War I, soldiers of opposing nations dropped their weapons and started throwing snowballs at one another. Metaphorically speaking. They ventured out to no man's land. Yes, let me repeat that. No man's land. To give their enemies rations, cigarettes, caps, and drinks. They sang carols. They danced jigs. That kind of rhymes. What the heck? I'm scared now. Some even got out to play football. On the battlefield. Look it up. It's a true story. Like, believe me. Even I couldn't believe it the first time I've heard about it. Now back to the prisoners. They're like soldiers, you know? They never wanted to fight. But they were sent out to fight. The leader is the one that wants to fight. Metaphorically speaking, their leader is Queen Scarlet. She forced the prisoners to fight each other. It's an ironic thing, really. The most wholesome things happen in times of war. I know, it's something I learned recently. But I think that's pretty much all I want to say about the first book. You know, I gotta tell you, whenever I close the book to do whatever, I would always find myself staring into space. It's like I got sucked into the story, by which I mean I felt as if I was involved in it, like I was one of the characters. And by the time I stopped reading, I snapped back to reality, and being like, what the heck just happened? So yeah, it's a type of magic that you always get after reading a book, isn't it?